Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday, which means it's time for the last ever Salty Saturday morning. I am your host, Mr. Kadish, and it's a bit of a bittersweet episode today because, something's coming to an end and the year's coming to an end, and I have my good friends, the OGs, the people who've been on this 3-year journey with me on Salty Saturdays to not only celebrate the last 3 years of doing these live streams, but also to talk to you all about what's coming next, because this is going to be kind of like a weird episode today. We're not going to follow any type of format, but we wanted to kind of talk about what's been happening. And so if you guys haven't noticed, Dutch Butters has not been on the live streams lately, and that's been due to a mixture of health related issues and lack of interest, and also his big foray into video gaming. So a couple weeks ago, Matt came to me and he's like, "Hey man, I hate everything about the entertainment industry. I'm bored. I don't want to talk about this shit anymore. I'm going to go off and play video games, which is what I like to do."
You man, I am out of it.
And you all can go fuck yourselves. So, Dutch, do you want to talk about
too many Star Wars stories? Too many Star Wars topics. You son of a bitch! I'm leaving.
That's not exactly how it went down, but it's pretty dang close. It's pretty close. Yeah. No, man. I did decide that I needed to step away because I have another passion, and it's always been there, and that's the video game channel that I've always wanted.
Oh my God! I thought you were going to say Grindr for a second.
No. That I've always wanted to start and run. And Matt has taught me a lot about running a YouTube channel and producing things, and I'm still learning every day. And every day I ask Matt how to do something, or what he thinks of this, or what he thinks of that. So I'm just going in a different direction than everybody else. And I cannot just sit here and talk about Star Wars and Star Trek and everything that I used to love and how much it sucks anymore. I just can't do it. I'm sorry, guys. If they mess up Stargate, I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh, so, yeah. Oh, you and me both, homie.
But I don't have a passion for it anymore, guys, and I can't pretend that I do, and I can't sit here and pretend every week that I'm enjoying the conversations about woke stuff when I feel like I should be doing other things, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do other things, and there's nothing to do with anybody on this panel or anybody in the chat. It's just I'm ready to move on. So,
well, real quick, Dutch. So Tom Connors Jr. has joined us. He's got other obligations that he has to get to, but he graciously agreed to come on and say his goodbye for the very last episode ever. So I'm going to throw this over to Tom for a brief amount of time. Tom, floor is yours.
You can't leave me, Dutch Butters. What the hell is that shit?
It is what it is, brother. I'm not leaving you. I'm just doing other thing.
I'm the only one who ever calls you Dutch Butters. Everybody else still calls you the Vader shit. What the
fuck? you took the longest.
About that night in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good night. That was a fun night. Yeah.
He has a new mistress now.
Doesn't mean anything
to you? No, he has a new mistress now, and her name is Arc.
Arc Raiders.
Yeah.
Arc Raiders.
Oh, he's a gamer now.
Jesus.
Big old gamer.
I've always been one of those, but yeah, no. Arc Raiders.
Gamer boy.
That game's kind of taking over the world right now.
Dude.
Thanks to Peanut.
Even me. Yeah. I'm not even much of a gamer, and I've become obsessed. I've got like 70 hours in that game now.
Yeah, that's really 70. That's
but for me, it's like insane. Yeah,
that's really wild. Yeah, that's really good. Tom, I wish you were sitting in your office at home and not in your car. So, but you got your priorities.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I do have my seatbelt on.
All right, Tom. Well, is there anything you want to say to the chat and the audience, wrapping things up here?
Well, Merry Christmas. Hopefully everybody has a happy holiday. I'm going to miss Dutch Butters. And other than that, hopefully we can sort out my issue in the new year. But we'll see how that goes with the demonetization thing. But yeah, no, I wish I was able to join you guys more officially here, but I'm already running late for the day, and I feel bad I wasn't able to make it.
Did you get my message, Tom? I
a lot
told you
lately.
I can hook up with you today later on.
Hopefully I'll have a chance to get back by then. Because I've been trying to hook up with you and Pro to talk about that, but it's been a bit of a
Whatever you need,
Colonel.
Pom. I'm here for you, buddy.
all right, no problem, guys. But yeah, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and if I don't talk to a lot of these people on the panel before then, Merry Christmas to you guys too, and everybody out there in the chat. Thanks for all the support and supporting this show. So there you go.
Yeah.
I don't have much else to say other than that.
Well, you love turtles.
I do that.
All right, Tom, thanks for hopping on, and have fun with your other obligations today, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, you guys have a good day.
Merry
Thanks,
Christmas,
Tom.
man.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And a blessed Advent.
Yes. Anyway, before we were so rudely interrupted by Tom Connors Jr.,
Son of a bitch.
I know, how dare he jump on to say goodbye. So if you guys remember, so when we first started this thing, back when we were just getting onto YouTube at the Salty Nerd Podcast channel, it was me, Alex, and Dutch Butters here, although he went by a different name at that time. And we all decided that in addition to doing the podcast show, we were going to try our hand at live streaming. And we kind of broke things up in this fashion, where basically on Mondays, Alex would do a late night kind of interview-based stream, where he would just talk to people that he wanted to talk to about conspiracy theories and no politics and all that fun stuff. And then I would do a Thursday live stream all about, writing and storytelling and filmmaking and things of that nature. And then Matt was going to do a Saturday morning stream talking about cartoons or some shit like that. And what happened was, like me and Alex and Matt all kind of like got together on Saturday mornings to basically help Matt out in terms of like how he was going to be doing, his show. Alex quickly found that getting guests for his show was too much work, so he just kind of quit. And I found that there wasn't enough stuff to talk about for like a storytelling based live stream, and I don't think there was a lot of interest in it either. But what we did find is that we really liked being all together on like a live stream talking about stuff. And even though it was going to be Matt's live stream, like, he didn't really know a lot about producing. And so like I started coming on to help him out. And originally it was like a home gang,
The home gang show. Yeah.
show. And it was just like kind of me and Matt BSing about stuff. And then we eventually decided, hey, you know what? It might be fun to do a panel. And so we contacted our good friend Brian and asked if he'd be willing to commit to a normal Saturday show. And we also brought on board, at the time, his name was Salty Trekker, and Danny the Dork Knight to kind of round out the panel. And we did that for about a year. And then we kind of reconfigured things after doing like a year of like, learning essentially on live streaming stuff. And we eventually brought on Odin and, a couple other special guests week to week. And that was a lot of fun. And then eventually Tom joined in and became part of the panel. And that brings us to today. And because Dutch has decided to kind of step away from the show, this was originally his show. Like I was just on to help him facilitate what he wanted to do. And it doesn't feel right to continue doing Salty Saturdays without Dutch as part of the show. And so we made the decision that we were going to officially end this live stream at the end of this year. And we're all going to be enjoying the holidays with our families this coming week and next week and stuff like that. So we were going to have a bit of a hiatus anyway. And we decided, hey, why don't we step away and think about what we really want to do here? And I do want to continue doing the live stream with Odin and Brian and some special guests, maybe some new panelists. But it just didn't feel right to continue doing Salty Saturdays without Dutch. And so what the plan is at the moment is to come back in 2026 with a completely different live stream. And we're probably going to be shifting gears a little bit. I want to talk more about stuff like AI and the movie industry itself, as opposed to, gossip and rumors and like who's casted and, what idiocy James Gunn's doing now and stuff like that, even though that will be a part of, the show going forward. But I wanted to kind of focus on the future of entertainment more so, like what's going on in the social media space, how creators are doing stuff outside of the Hollywood system, the future of, basically entertainment, streaming, all this other stuff. So what we're probably going to do, and this isn't set in stone yet, and we would love to hear your guys' feedback as well, is we're probably going to create a brand new show, same time slot, same day, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be, a little bit outside the scope of what Salty Saturdays has been for the past 3 years. So I want to open it up to the panel and have them give their thoughts on the end of an era and where they think we should be going in the future.
I mean, I have mentioned this to my wife, countless times, that this is a show I've always, every weekend, look forward to jumping on for a lot of different reasons, right? I think that, primarily because it is just so much fun. It's fun to have these conversations. It's fun to be on with you guys. We all get along really well. Even when we don't get along, it's still great chemistry, right? The epic fights between Brian and myself, have just been phenomenal, and it's been amazing.
You have your facts, though, Odin.
We can walk away and still be, friends. It's that has just been something that has always just been such a joy. And I can't say that about a lot of other things, especially in the online social media space, right? Because there's a lot of other things where there's, different tensions and behind the scenes nonsense and such. And this has always been a kind of a safety spot for me, where it's if I have to miss because of a family obligation or because of illness, it's good. We're all cool. Everything's fine. The fact that we, are taking off a couple weeks for Christmas, that's, again, add that to it as well. So you add the top of that, really great connections, great friendships, but then also an environment that is just so chill, but also at the same time, also still very professional, still very hey, we have a topic, we have this and that. We've got those long emails every week from Mr. Kadish himself, which no one ever reads. And even that is just always kind of just fun, because it's we basically tell Matt to his face, it's yeah, man, we don't really read those, man.
I'm not reading that stuff.
But I appreciate them nonetheless. And so it's been a joy for me. And so I can at least speak on my behalf that I've loved these. And so I'm very much looking forward to continuing it, even in a new direction.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you should mention the frenemy relationship that you and Brian have, Odin, because
I don't
know if you guys know this or not, but we actually captured a moment between Brian and Odin.
Oh no!
Where equal rivals, like most people do, they get together for a cup of coffee and just hash out their differences. I wanted to share this hidden camera thing with you guys, just to showcase the unique special relationship between our two major
I think this is gonna be super gay. Oh my god. It's gonna be
You have your own live stream. You're also on Salty Saturdays. And you're regular on Friday Night Tights. FNT as tough as they say.
You looking to become a guest panelist?
I got my own live streams, bro. I've dealt with panels filled with idiots that don't know what they're talking about, spreading lies and rumors left and right. That you?
You must have run some awful live streams.
I've run all kinds.
You see me quoting rumors and articles from Scott Mendelson and unverified Twitter accounts with a Born to Lose tattoo on my chest?
No, I do not.
Right. Because I do my research. I know my shit.
You just quote box office numbers.
I do what I do best. I look at the numbers. You do what you do best. Try to argue with objective reality.
So you never wanted to just enjoy movies, huh?
What the heck is that? Being a Marvel and DC fanboy?
Yeah.
Is that your life? Just fanboying franchises?
My life? No. My life's a disaster zone. I got a channel based entirely around a dead franchise that nobody cares about anymore. I've been demonetized more times than you can count. I'm in the process of replacing my brother with AI. And I own more Disney stock than any other creator out there. All because I spend my time on live streams arguing with people like you.
Nerdravik told me one time, don't let yourself get into an argument with someone if you don't know what you're talking about. Now, if you're on me and you gotta deal with cold, hard numbers and facts, how do you ever expect to win a debate?
Well, that's an interesting point. What, you just nerd out over numbers all day? Not have any fun?
That's the discipline.
That's pretty vacant, no?
It is what it is. It's that or we better both go do something else, pal.
I don't know how to do anything else.
Neither do I.
I don't much want to either.
Neither do I.
You know, we're sitting here, you and I, like a couple of regular fellas. You do what you do, I do what I gotta do. And now that we're on the same stream together, if I'm there and I gotta rebuke one of your bad takes, I won't like it. But I'll tell you, if it's between you and James Gunn and his DCEU, brother, you are going down.
There's a flip side to that coin. What if you do come at me and you're just flat out wrong? Because I'll tell you what, you will not get in the way of my box office numbers. We're on the same live stream, yeah, but I will not hesitate. Not for a second.
Maybe that's the way it will be. But regardless, you best have your facts in front of you.
Same goes for you.
What's that?
I was
That
just
was
waiting for him to start making out or something.
Or hold hands or something. That was weird.
My face was all messed. Like what? Oh my goodness.
I had one day to make that, guys.
Okay, it's like you've done so much better than this before.
I gotta say, Odin, you look pretty good there, bro.
I know. I look way better than what I actually look like.
I look
You
a
did
lot
too, Brian.
skinnier too.
Yeah, Brian, you're down like 50 pounds, bro.
Yeah, I was down easily 50 pounds. Easily. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys.
By the way,
merged
it's
with, like,
DCU,
Pacino
not
and De Niro.
DCEU. I'm just saying.
Oh,
you
what's
gotta
the difference, man?
Get your
At this
facts
point-
right.
At this point, what is the even difference, man? My favorite line though is "That's the discipline."
That is the discipline. But yeah, you guys were kind of like a hybrid of Pacino and De Niro in there, thanks to AI. But yeah, it was fun putting that together. Basically, just the scene from Heat. You know, two great legends come together for the first time.
I like that line where he goes, I've been demonetized more times and I own more Disney stock. My life is a disaster.
Yeah, that was the best part.
I'm in the process of replacing my brother with AI.
I mean, was any of that untrue, Brian?
Nope, no lies detected, dude.
No lies detected. Facts in front of us. Anyway, you know, actually, that's kind of an example of some of the stuff that I want to do more of going into 2026. Just, you know, utilizing AI, having fun, doing some weird, crazy stuff. But yeah, like I just thought it was funny. Like I've been wanting to do that for a while because you guys always have these epic kind of like arguments on the stream. And I just thought, you know what, that's very Pacino, De Niro, and Heat-esque. So wanted to make that for you guys.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take Pacino into there all day long.
Yeah. Speaking of taking stuff, we got some super chats to get to. We got Juliet, member for 15 months, evening salty nerds in chat. Hello, Juliet. And of course, we've got Bob Dorsey, who became a new YouTube member. Good to see you again, Bob. We got John Yulden, says for £1.99, don't jinx Stargate, Dutch.
God,
bro.
I want it to be good so bad, man. I really do. It's like I'm just hoping beyond hope that this new Stargate they're making is gonna knock it out of the park. So Guess we'll see.
And John also followed that up with a £5 super chat. It's been a joy watching this show regularly with this great panel. I wish all of you well with whatever projects you develop. And then, of course, we've got Mephisto for 6 shekels. We picked the wrong day to cancel our own show. Oh, no. Does that mean that, was it the real McCoy is no longer with
What?
us?
What?
That's weird.
Why is the real McCoy going away?
I don't know. Maybe it's coming back as the fake McCoy. It's all AI. Don't know. Juliet again for £2. Call it Saturday fun with the beards.
I like that.
I don't know. I
The
might shave.
beard show.
But also
Might
too, there's a lot of innuendo in that because the beards
Yeah.
plural.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Right.
because they're beards, right? And
Right.
then
Right, right, right.
in the gay way.
That means that wives are gay.
Eric Winberg with his 1 gifted Salty Nerd podcast membership. Thank you,
Thanks,
Eric.
Eric.
We got Major Chai Chai for $20. I'll miss Salty Saturdays, but look forward to seeing your new endeavors and supporting your channel with gifted memberships. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you so much, Major Chai Chai. You've always been a big supporter of the show, and we appreciate you. We got SFX F31 Sabertooth Raptor for $5. You all need to do a best of clips of your show as a memorial before your new show. Brian, computer or something smoking and him trying to clear it. We do have a highlight of that having happened, which YouTube won't let us monetize because we used a copywritten song to go along with it.
It's too bad.
But man, it just comes down to time. Like, you know, I've been so busy
Mhm.
running the studio and like dealing with like real life stuff, and you know, I just haven't had the time. Like, I'd love to sit down and just find like create a highlights reel from our almost 200. This is episode 195. I don't know if you guys knew this,
Oh wow.
but like we've had hundreds of episodes, and it's just a question of actually going through them. Maybe I can use AI to do it. Who knows? Then we got Jillian of the H for $5. Thank you for the well-seasoned fun. Humor comforts us as we experience the ongoing gross mishandling of our favorite franchises. Hashtag salty for life. Yes, indeed. And, you know, like, we're not going to give up being salty about stuff. We're still going to make fun of shit and stuff like that. But it's just going to be like a different style of show, I think.
You know, every week I sit in that office that Matt's there with him and Alex, and we all like, man, we should make a video about this, or we should make a video about that. Wouldn't it be cool to bring this back and bring that back? And it's just like, it's for some reason it just never happens, but it's gonna happen someday. And you know, we'll see what goes. We'll see
Well,
what
it doesn't
happens.
happen because I don't have any freaking time to do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's like you guys are always good at coming up with ideas. It's like, Kadish, why don't you get on that? I'm like, okay, yeah, eventually. Yeah.
It's true.
But then, of course, we've got the big one, Bob Dorsey for $200.
Thank you, Bob Dorsey.
Merry Christmas, all. We'll miss this. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, we'll be coming back in a different capacity probably, but again, like, we're still kind of brainstorming like what that's going to look like and stuff like that. But Bob Dorsey has been one of our big Saturday superstars for the longest time. He's been, up there on the donation charts, and he's also, he's very nice in the DMs and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
big shout out to Bob. Really like seeing you there on Saturdays, Bob. And hopefully you'll come back when we relaunch as a new show. So, but I understand that, you know, having a show with no Dutch Butters and his feet off screen just isn't a big deal for a lot of people. They don't want to see that.
They don't want to see. They don't want to see my feet.
Press F for feet in the chat, people. There you
That's the first time that's ever happened.
go. No, I think it's happened before.
Has it?
I think it's
Has it?
definitely happened.
I think
multiple
I
times
just
before.
threw my back out doing that.
There you go.
But
And then we got Cole Hauser for $50 Canadian. Thank you so much, Cole Hauser. Hail, Merry Christmas, y'all. Merry Christmas. All right, guys. So enough of the weird AI stuff and reminiscing and stuff like that. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the entertainment world. And guess what? James Gunn did another very James Gunn thing by James Gunning his own James Gunn. Basically, he came out and said, Batman is boring. And we have this article from the Geeks and Gamers website that kind of goes into depth into what he said. And basically, there was there was an interview that James Gunn did, and in typical James Gunn fashion, he basically shot himself in the foot. And he essentially said that the current iterations of Batman are very boring and that there's a plan to fix him. And this is ahead of like the new, what do you call it? Sparkly Battinson movie that's going to be coming out. And essentially the gist of the article is that James Gunn said that we've seen the campy Batman, we've seen the super serious Batman, and he wants a reason to bring Batman back beyond just, oh, this is a major IP, right? So he's looking for a way to kind of figure out a new take on Batman that isn't something people have seen before. And he said that he's getting kind of close to it, but that, Wonder Woman's easier because there haven't been all these iterations of like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. Whereas with Batman, everything that could be done has been done pretty much. So he's trying to figure out a new way to do it. And of course, we here on the panel have varying different ideas about James Gunn and his plans. But I want to start with Brian because Brian's usually the optimistic one when it comes to James Gunn and stuff like that. And I know that, James Gunn has greenlit a Clayface movie, which is one of Batman's rogues gallery. And but it's kind of in a weird situation right now because you do have the Matt Reeves Batman sequel that's coming out. And then they're going to be rebooting it with James Gunn's Batman, which is going to be more about his relationship with the Damian version of Robin, which is actually his biological son. So it's all very weird and up in the air, and there's nothing set in stone. But Brian, what's your take on this thing about Batman being boring?
Yeah, I mean, if he's talking about the Batman, I agree with him. The Batman is incredibly boring. The Matt Reeves version of the Batman is bad. I know there's people that like it out there, and that's fine. But it's boring. It's boring, and it's slow, and it's it's dark, and not like dark in a cool way, like literally dark, hard to see dark. Not a fan of it. Does that mean I'm a fan of like the super campy Batman? No, I'm not. Like I agree there needs to be like some kind of balance to it, but I sort of agree with him in a way where it's like the current version of Batman that we've been going down towards, like this like sort of like hyper realistic version of Batman is just boring. It has a place, but even the Chris Nolan movies had a way to take hyper realistic and still make it seem fantastical. The Matt Reeves version just didn't. The Matt Reeves version felt like a couple of crazy people that put suits on. It didn't have the elements that Chris Nolan had, where it felt sort of realistic but also fantastical. You need to have that combination. And for Batman to exist in the same world that Superman, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, etc., exist, like, I'm not sure how you're going to do that and keep like a hyper realistic tone. Matt Reeves' Batman would never fit in the current DCU universe. No. It just wouldn't. Not in a million years. So he's got to be dark. He's got to be, more troubled, but it's still got to exist in this more, I guess for lack of a better word, childlike universe. I'm not sure how you do that. And I think that's the problem he's going to have. One of my favorite Batman cartoons of all time is when he's fighting Owlman. And he's like, I'm going to mess this up, but he's looking like he has this portal or something. And he looks at the portal and he goes, the difference between you and me is when I looked into the darkness, I didn't blink or something like that. And it's just a really cool line. You can make Batman dark and ominous, but also have him exist in this world. And if I had advice for James Gunn, if I was had James Gunn's ear, I would say, study the Justice League Unlimited cartoons, please. Because they managed to somehow give Batman his own darker, more troubled voice and, all that without sacrificing the fun of the other characters. And I'm not sure how you do that in the live action, but I sort of agree with him. The way Batman's been going is boring. Incredible.
It wouldn't be boring if you bring Apache Chief on like he needs to.
100%.
So
bring it back.
And Brooke Chuck, make him grow real big, you know.
When are they going to do an Elastic Man movie? That's what I
Yeah.
want to know.
Oh,
but
that's a cool
but-
character, man.
Before I throw this to Odin, I want to ask you about this, Brian, because I saw that basically Warner Brothers has decided to release the entire season of Creature Commandos on YouTube for free because apparently nobody watched it on HBO. What's your take on that?
I think it's smart because there's going to be characters that he wants to bring into live action, and in order to do that, he's got to get people familiar with the characters, right? Not everyone's watching HBO Max, and even if they are watching HBO Max, there's a percentage of those people that have HBO Max that are watching Creature Commandos, and additionally, there's a percentage of those people that like animation. So you have a Venn diagram of an audience that you're not gonna find. I like James Gunn and I like Creature Commandos, but I'm not a fan of that animation style. Like my first thought when I saw the trailer, I thought animation style just doesn't do it for me. I'm not a fan of the anime style animation. I know people are, and there's nothing wrong with that, to each their own, but I just didn't like it. I like the stories, I like the characters, I like the voice acting, but the animation sucked. So you have like a very small group of people that are gonna find that interesting. Now, once I watched it, I enjoyed it, but I don't know how many people are willing to pay to go watch something that they're not 100%, that they're not even like 50% on, because you have to like animation, you have to like James Gunn, you have to like Creature Commandos, you have to like. There's too many variables to get people to watch that show, and I think he wants to bring those characters into live action. Like Clayface is really cool in that series, and if he wants to make a live action Clayface, which I'm all for, that sounds rad. People have to become familiar and interested in the character, right? So in order to do that, I think the best way to do that is just to drop it on YouTube, where there's no barrier of entry. Like anyone can just go check it out anytime, and they'll fall in love with the characters. Like the robot character in Creature Commandos is legitimately a cool character, like a really, really cool character, and a tragic story. Every one of those characters have a really tragic sort of hero's journey story that I wish they just told those stories with a different medium, because that animation style is very specific. You know, it's very specific to certain people, and I'm not one of the people.
A small percentage of a small percentage of a small audience. I think you just encapsulated the James Gunn fan base right there.
Brian,
No, I wouldn't agree with that. Superman did really well because you made it for general audiences.
Oh,
Creature Commandos is not the same though.
oh, okay.
Brian, what kind of animation style is it? Because I have had this much interest in this thing, so I'm not even really sure what
It's
even
like
looks
anime, like Eastern animation. It's like the word. It's the kind of animation that every time I see it, I'm like, that's not for me. That's for some Zoomer coming out of middle school. It's not my style.
I think they
And they're-
define it as American anime.
I mean, people like that, and that's cool. But like, I like the Boondocks. Big fan of the Boondocks. But man, it took me years to watch the Boondocks because I don't like that animation style. So I finally watched the Boondocks and was like, oh, cool. The story's rad. Characters are cool. It's funny. It's dramatic. But it took me so long, and you have to like really like the story. The story has to be so good for me to be able to get into it. And I'm not unique. There's a lot of people like me.
The animation style of Creature Commandos was fine with me. I just didn't like any of the characters. But I want to throw this to Odin to get his take on James Gunning all over the place. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, it's like we're still not surprised by any of this, right? This is just who he is. It's why I don't think that he is really the best person suited, at least to be the public face of the DCEU, because he, continues to, or DCU, whatever the world they're calling it. I don't really even care at this point, because it's proven itself to really not be all that interesting. And, obviously you can talk about Superman being made for general audiences, but even then it still was, compared to some of the other the more popular DCU films, it's one of the lower grossing of those films. and it could even make its money back theatrically. So again, we look to that. We then look to how few people are actually caring about things like Peacemaker and all the other shows that he's doing, and that's trying to set up this future universe. It seems that there's this apathy out there, and again, I honestly think that the more he does things like this, the less people that are interested, the more people that get pushed away, and he's already on very tenable ground. A lot of the things that people were mentioning earlier, when before Superman came out, was the film really needs to be like a home run to get things off the ball. I think people, if they're more realistic, could say it was probably more like a single, maybe a double, but still really, again, not that impressive as far as the film, but also as far as its overall general reception in comparison to some of the other big properties out there. And again, you look into the whole picture, right? Not just Superman. It's also, okay, what are the other shows doing? And the other shows are doing next to nothing. And I think that is, again, a sign of bad leadership. And I think that this is another sign that James Gunn probably should not be the one, at the very least, at the public face of the company.
It's like, I don't know, man, that Superman movie that they came out with that James Gunn made, it made me want Zack Snyder to come back. And that's the truth. It's saying something. And
well, Dutch, do you think Batman's boring?
Batman boring? I don't know if the are we talking about the Pattinson stuff, right? Is it boring?
No, we're talking about James Gunn's take on Batman.
I don't think Batman's boring. No. How can Batman be boring? That's crazy talk. I mean, Batman should be one of the foundation pillars of this new DC universe that he's making, and for him to just basically ignore the character is wild to me. I mean, all he has to do, right, guys, is make a Superman movie, a Batman movie, and a Wonder Woman movie, and branch out from there. That's what he needs to do. And that's what I know. It's what Zack Snyder was doing, but that's how you create a DC universe. Those are the big three, and that's what he needs to build off of. And the fact that he's not doing it and he's going with these weird ass other things that, Peacemaker and all these other ones, it's just it's bizarre to me. It really is. It's very strange. I don't know what he's doing. Supergirl, okay, big deal. Supergirl's just in some ancillary Superman character. I'm sorry if that's what people are going to get mad at me for saying that, but that's what she is. It's like Superboy, Supergirl. It's like, okay, fine, but I want to see Superman. I want to see Superman doing Superman things. I don't want to see Peacemaker and his weird eagle out there, F-bombing and doing hookers and stuff. That's just not the kind of superhero stuff that I'm into. It's very strange. So,
well, speaking of Supergirl, guys, we had basically a test screening for Supergirl very recently, and I want to show this to you guys. So this is a tweet where basically some of the people who saw the Supergirl movie said, yes, Supergirl had a test screening roughly 2 hours and 5 minutes. From what I heard, feedback was not that great, but it wasn't a bad film. Some scenes shined a lot more than others. Millie Alcock is praised for her acting in the role. Lobo has 2 fights. The villain is underwhelming. And a lot of the commenters said Jason Momoa only has 2 fights in the whole movie. Big letdown. But this is kind of par for the course for like the James Gunn style stuff of the DCEU, where basically a lot of the early reception of it is kind of lukewarm, and they're like, oh, just wait until you see it, it's going to be good. And the same thing happened with Superman, and it seems like the broader reception to James Gunn's Superman movie was very middling. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but it didn't really strike a chord with the movie-going public. And I feel like Supergirl is set to continue that trend. Odin, I want to throw this to you first. What's your take on these early test screening reports?
Test screenings are a difficult thing. Like I'll give the film and I'll give like the people behind it like credit. Whenever information or things are leaked about test screenings, I always take it with a grain of salt because, on the one hand, you don't really know exactly whether it's even like legitimate. It's just what people are claiming was being said or claiming the sentiment was. And also having seen only one ever rough cut of a movie, when I lived in New York, I actually got to see an early cut of Tropic Thunder. And it was interesting because there were only a couple of scenes that weren't finished, and you could actually like see where those cuts were. It was very interesting to see that. But usually when you're seeing a test screening, normally at that point, the film is enough to still be narrative. It's still enough to make sense. And it basically will have maybe visual effects that haven't been finished completely. So you'll have some animated stills in there, or some storyboards that are put in there, just so that way people know what's kind of going on, because they'll have like the dialogue maybe captured, but they don't have all those other things finished. But it's usually enough to like keep you kind of going along a little bit. But that also means it's not a complete movie either, right? And so when people are giving their reactions to an incomplete film, I'm not surprised to hear people not being all that high on it, because it's an incomplete movie. Like, even if it's a film that you even like a lot of those parts or don't like a lot of those parts, it would still be incomplete nonetheless. And that can be jarring at times, especially when you get to a sequence where it's like, oh, something is supposed to be here. Actually, I take that back. I've only been physically to one of these screenings, but then when I was trying to see the Minecraft movie, there were some early online versions that got leaked, and it was the incomplete visual effects, and it was weird looking. And at first I didn't realize it until like halfway through that version. I was like, oh, this is not what's in theaters, thank goodness, because it was like PS2 level graphics. It was interesting. But that, again, can impact you. That can impact your overall view. So I think it's too early to say whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing. What I do think is the trailer is probably, to me, more of an important story in this, because the trailer, I honestly think, is more of like, okay, this is the vision of this character, which is whatever. And guess what? That's what a lot of us are going to feel like as well with it. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever. Okay, you're going to make it whatever. Like, who cares?
Hey, Brian, are you still there?
Yeah.
What's your take on these test screenings?
Yeah, test screenings are weird. I hear, oh, it's the best thing ever, and oh, it's horrible, and I'm like, I guess it depends on who's watching the test screening, dude, or who's reporting it, or even if they actually saw the test screening, because like, I'm legitimately wary of anyone right now that talks about this movie before it comes out, because who knows? There's so many of these, I'm going to call them Twitter eggs, for lack of a better word right now, but just unverified, completely anonymous, essentially, Twitter people that have huge followings because they just tweet a bunch of clickbait rage nonsense every single day, that are either praising it or demolishing it. And it's hard to take any of it seriously, because I mean, I saw yesterday this dude has like 50,000 followers, and he's like, it's confirmed we're gonna have a Snyderverse announcement before Christmas. I'm like, who confirmed that, and how? It's not even possible. No one, look, Netflix hasn't even won the bid yet. Like, will they probably be the new owner of Warner Brothers? Sure, possible, but that hasn't happened. There's no way they're gonna announce anything with Snyder, like, in a million years. Anyways, it's hard to look at any of this stuff and take it seriously, because like I've said, I've seen people praise it. Oh, it's incredible, blah blah blah. Two people going like, it's horrible, everyone hated it. It's like the people that go, and everyone clapped. We're like, sure, buddy, sure. You know, and everyone was mad. The studio fired James Gunn on the spot. Like, what are you talking about? And I just have a hard time believing any of these people are doing anything other than attempting to use rage bait to get engagement, because that's how they make money on Twitter. And the craziest thing about, and here's the real problem with that, YouTube is like downstream from Twitter. Guys, we should not be downstream of Twitter, okay? YouTube should be upstream of Twitter, but for some reason we're downstream because YouTube reports on what Twitter's reporting on. It's very weird to me. And then I see like Cosmic Book News and Human Giant and all these different like rags that have zero credibility, literally writing entire articles based on some guy on YouTube with 3,000 subscribers talking about the Snyderverse being officially restored because of his sources. What? And then someone tweets that, and then other more popular YouTubers see something from a verified Twitter account that has 100,000 followers and they report on it. Next thing you know, like you follow that track back, and it goes back to some dude reporting on his sources from his car. Come on. It doesn't make no sense. We should not be downstream of Twitter. Most of these accounts are bot accounts being ran out of other countries for the sole purpose of ad money. They just want engagement. So they post nonsense. So I don't know. I don't believe any of it, good or bad. And as for every movie, I'm going to watch it myself.
Yeah, got to have your facts in front of you, right, Brian?
Yeah, need your facts, bro.
All right. Dutch, are you looking forward to a Supergirl movie?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Look, I haven't been to a movie in like probably 8-9 months, probably maybe longer. I think the last movie, God, I couldn't even tell you what the last movie that I saw in the theater was. For some reason, the Furiosa movies come into mind, but I think I've seen one since then. I know that was a while ago. I'm just trying to think of what it was, and that's part of the reason, the video game channel is kind of taken over my life. That's which is part of my issue. Is just I don't have a lot of interest in movies and TV anymore, and it's a really weird switch that went off in my head. I don't know, man. It's just weird. I have very little interest in seeing these things, and you guys know me. If I don't see or watch something, I'm not going to give my opinion on it or talk about it, because I don't think that's fair to the product. So it's really hard for me to review a movie if I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I get it, man. It's weird. It's very weird for me.
Makes sense to me, man. Like, because you do things when you enjoy them. And I've said this a long time about just even my own presence on YouTube. It's like, as soon as it stops being fun, I'm done and I walk away, right? And
the last 5-6 years we've been doing this, and the majority of that time was spent criticizing and talking about culture war stuff. And the more I did it, I think it's just kind of ingrained itself into my brain to where I really can't watch anything anymore without seeing stuff in it that I don't like. And it's upsetting. It bothers me. I need to step away, and I need to get back to a point where I can watch something and not get pissed off about it because I see some little smidgen of something DEI or woke in it. And it's very hard for me to do that right now. And I need to get back to a place where I can sit down and I can watch a show on HBO or whatever and not get mad. And I just miss being kind of naive and ambivalent to things, if that makes any sense at all. Because it's always going to be there. I know that it's always going to be there, but I need to get back to a point where I don't really care all that much. And it's hard. It's hard. So I don't know.
Also, I think this was kind of like a weird year, because this was the content desert we talked about because of all the strikes that happened last year, where it set back all these what do you call it, like all these productions. So we didn't get a whole lot of new TV or movies or anything this year. There was like a trickle of stuff. So that's one thing to consider. But I want to give a big shout out to Randall Orser, member for 27 months. I usually lurk while doing house stuff, but it's always a joy to listen and watch. Glad it's returning in a new, maybe even better form. Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas,
I think
Randall.
you guys are going to come back after the Christmas break with the new thing. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really honestly looking forward to what Matt's putting together. And look, I will be around. You guys can ask me to come and be guests on your shows. I'll do it. I'll 100% do it. I just don't have time to devote to this show what I think needs to be devoted to. I want to take that time to my main channel now and put it there. I have a lot of stuff that I want to do over there, and I can't do it if I have to watch movies and TV shows and take time away from that. So it just is what it is, man. And I need to follow my passion. And that's just how I'm feeling about things right now. So it's not a reflection on anybody on the panel or Matt or the show. I love this show. This show. When me and I sat down with Matt, it's like, hey man, let's do Friday Night Tights on Saturday mornings, and that was kind of like the first kind of thing that we tried. You know, it never took off the way we did, but man, we've had shows where we've had 500-600 people watching this thing, and the super chats have flowed, and it's been really fun. And I think this Salty Saturday Morning thing was a success, and I really do. And but at the same time, it's been a heavy time investment, and it's been much more so for Matt, because Matt is a psychopath and he doesn't do anything without diving into something, 120%. I spend an hour prepping for this thing, and that means he's probably spent 8 getting articles together, getting graphics together, writing emails, prepping, and writing, making things making AI videos in secret, not telling me about them, so it's just, he's a workaholic, and this channel and a lot of our channels wouldn't be where they are today if it wasn't for him. So thank you, Matt. You're a really good dude, and I appreciate you. So
thank you. You know who else we appreciate is Pseudo Nombot, who gifted 1 Salty Nerd Podcast membership. Thank you, Pseudo Nombot. And of course, friend of the show, R to the Icky for $20. Last time I got to super chat here, going to miss the show. Odin, Brian, Kadish, Tom, and Dutch. Was an honor that I got to be a guest on the panel when this show started 3 years ago. Wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
So the new show, it's not going to be on a different channel, right? You're not starting a new YouTube channel. So the Salty Nerd channel is not going away. I'm reading the chat and everybody's like, oh man, the Salty Nerd channel is going away. It's done. It's like, that's not true. And there could be, like I said earlier, you never know when Salty and us were going to get together, and it's like House of the Dragon might come out. We go, we need to review that show or something, because we do. We every single week we sit in there and we're like, let's do this and let's do that. And it's like the time's going to come when we're going to have enough time to set aside and do something cool. So we'll still be around.
Yeah, the Salty Nerd channel is not going anywhere. In fact, we may be doing even more content for it in 2026 outside of the live streaming. It's just that this particular show, this is the last episode of this particular show. And so if we do another live stream, it's going to be different title, different name, different topics, potentially new faces on the panel. Odin and Brian will be back with me, but you won't be seeing Dutch every week. Tom is probably going to be hopping in and out as usual, but he won't be a regular, that type of thing. So we'll see. Again, everything's up in the air. But R2, hopefully health-wise, you're doing great. And speaking of old timers, the Joker's Voice, member for 33 months. SMP got my YouTube journey started. Happy trails, guys. Good to see you, Joker's Voice. And of course, Danny the Dork Knight, member for 25 months. I challenge you to a home gang for abandoning us. As I said before, Danny
we're not
one of the original panelists on here, along with Salty Tracker and stuff.
He sucked though, so we had to get rid of him. So.
Well, we all love Danny, and we acknowledge Danny the Dork Knight.
I don't acknowledge Danny the Dork Knight.
Well,
I acknowledge you, Danny. I acknowledge you.
He's got to spend at least $50 for me to acknowledge him. So that's just how it is.
Well, you're not technically a member of the panel anymore, so.
Oh.
All right, we got Aaron Charman for 10 pounds. Merry Christmas, guys. It's a blast watching you get salty over crappy shows and films, but it feels like that part of the culture war is ending with a few exceptions. We won, and you played your part. Well, that's good to know. Fun fact, guys. I don't know if I told you all about this, but Dave Landau was here in the studio not too long ago.
Ooh.
Salty Nerd Studio. So shout out to Dave Landau. And then we also got Jay Frazier 360 for 5 pounds. Hail Salty Nerds. Sad Salty Saturdays is gone. I look forward to the nerd fights every week. I look forward to the new show, whatever it may be. Yes. And we'll be updating our channel with like videos and updates and community posts and stuff like that to let you all know what's going on. Also, Dutch Butters, if you want to shout out the Discord, we're going to be also posting on there quite a bit.
SaltyNerdDiscord.com. That's it.
There you go. And Super Frandaman for €5 and €5.99. I'm just going to say that. Wishing you all the best. Sorry to see the show end. Odin, please do please do you Jimmy Stewart. Please do your Jimmy Stewart. It's a Wonderful Life impression.
Oh, no. Oh, Mary.
Oh, Mary, Mary, I want to live again.
I want to live again.
I want to live again. Merry Christmas, Bedford Falls.
You see
Merry
that?
Christmas movie house.
This $1 makes $2, and those make baby dollars.
Let's have Mama Dollar and Papa Dollar. Let's have a lot of kids.
I'm gonna take that moon. I'm gonna lasso the moon and pull it down.
Oh,
for
you
you,
want the
Mary.
moon? Yeah, I say that's a good idea. I'll give you the moon, Mary.
Odin, if the
Mary!
YouTube thing doesn't work out, you can get booked here in Vegas for your Jimmy Stewart impression.
My half-tier Jimmy Stewart impersonation.
Yes.
Get
All right, guys.
infested.
So there's an odd topic that I want to talk about, but I feel like it's important to talk about because nobody's talking about it. But I don't know if you knew this or not, but Trump Media has just announced a $6 billion merger with an energy company. Have any of you guys heard about this?
Slightly, yeah. I got a random truth social notification about it.
Okay. So nobody's reporting on this because, of course, like it's Trump and Trump digital media and stuff like that. And so the news doesn't like to cover this type of thing. But there's a reason I want to talk about this. And it's basically like Trump's media company is merging with a nuclear fusion company. Okay.
That doesn't sound problematic at all.
What's interesting about this is that so Devin Nunes has been kind of doing like the news circuit talking about this, and they're basically merging with this company called Tri-Alpha Energy, or TAE, and they do what's called aneutronic fusion, which means that there's no heat, no radiation, and no steam cycle like your typical nuclear power type thing. It's basically cool fusion. It's not cold fusion, but it's cool
Not cold fusion.
Yeah. And it's like a revolutionary new way to generate electricity because, you know, it's super safe. It uses boron gas, which is different from the other companies out there, which are using helium-3 that can only be mined from like the moon or whatever the case. But boron is cheap and abundant and stuff like that. And so,
Yeah, listen, when your business model is we need to get minerals from the moon in order to be successful, I think that's a poor business model.
Yeah.
but what's crazy about this is that so Trump, you know, like his whole big thing is like making America energy independent, and there's going to be a huge demand for cheap and abundant energy because of all these data centers for like the AI stuff and things of that nature. But this is technology that can be basically used to power cities, power vehicles, maybe someday even power like cell phones or something like that. Like the more they advance the technology, the more compact it's going to get. But not a lot of news organizations are really talking about this. And the reason that this is important is because this is going to be the future of our energy grid here in America and potentially the world. So not financial advice, but I'm telling you guys right now,
hope so.
I'm taking some money and investing in DJT Media because they're not going to be a social network. They're going to be an energy company, and they're going to be on the forefront of this technology. And I think it's really important people understand just how big of a deal this announcement was, and nobody's talking about it. So I wanted to open it up to the panel and get your guys' thoughts on this.
Well, that's kind of boring to talk about when you got pictures of Bill Clinton hanging out with Epstein all over the news. So, you know, you got to have our priorities straight.
I mean, like everyone's known about that for like decades, right?
But still, you gotta have your priorities straight, and you gotta talk about the important things in the universe, and that's apparently Epstein photos from 1987. And so, you know.
Well, you know, it's crazy. I know Elon Musk and a couple other people were talking about building data centers in space and in Antarctica, simply because of like the cooling requirements for some of these things. But with this type of cool fusion technology, that wipes out that need completely. Like you could just build these things anywhere because they're a fraction of the size of like your typical nuclear or coal power plant type thing. They're super safe. They're super energy efficient. It could really revolutionize like how we consume energy here in the United States.
We should build these data centers to take up all this energy, put them under the ocean, just off the coast, underwater.
Well, the problem with building underwater is the pressure. right? From
What does
from
that?
the
It doesn't
water
have to be
itself.
super deep. It doesn't have to be super deep. Just put it out there in the Gulf of America. Where it's not as deep, off Florida or something.
Put it on one of those
It's-
old mining rigs and just
Yeah.
run the pipes deep.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. I don't know, I'm
Brilliant
talking.
touch.
I'm talking on my ass, man. I don't know what's.
Yeah, Mary, yeah.
But Brian, you know a lot about this technological stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think of this announcement and the fact that this is revolutionary new technology?
We've had announcements about fusion before, and they didn't pan out to anything. Sometimes companies will announce like some kind of like minor breakthrough in order to pad their numbers so they can get their stock ticker, going up. But we have seen actual advancements in fusion the last decade, like big advancements, where the energy coming out is somehow equal to what's being put in, or even sometimes more in small quantities. Fusion is the future. I'll tell you what's not the future. Freaking solar panels, not the future.
No.
Anyone that tells you differently doesn't know how they work. And people that know how they work will tell you that it's very cool to put on your car when you're camping. It's not something that can power cities long term. They are very expensive to maintain.
No, wait
very
a second.
expensive.
Didn't Elon Musk say that if we took like a spot in the middle of the United States, like
He did.
size of a few counties wide, and filled it up with the
Solar panels.
solar panels, yeah, that it would power the whole country.
Yeah, the one thing he forgot to mention though is not current generation solar panels. These have to be solar panels that have we need 5 generations from now solar panels. We need to continue putting a ton of effort and money and research and resources into making these solar panels that have a diminishing return. Solar panels are not the future. It's a sci-fi thing that people really like to really feel confident about. Especially older people. I've noticed my dad's friends who are all like in their 70s, and they're from Arizona, and they were like, "Oh my God, when I got solar panels, my bill dropped. It's crazy how much my bill dropped. They've been fantastic." I'm like, "Yeah, you live in Arizona, dude. You live in Arizona. If you guys are not
always
from the
sunny.
States, Arizona's always sunny. You know what though? While they're using these subsidies and these various government programs to minimize their personal costs, what they aren't recognizing is that the state has to, the government is essentially paying other companies a lot of money to maintain those solar panels so you can get some money off your bill.
Yeah, it's really weird, Brian, because I can drive 10 miles away out to Boulder City, and you can see the miles upon miles of solar panel farms out there. Or you can drive down here to Prim, and you can see the really cool tower things with that looks like straight out of a freaking
dude, that thing
sci-fi movie.
that thing is so cool.
Weird.
Dude, you guys ever see the movie Sahara? Anyone ever see that movie? Okay, so the movie Sahara had these solar panels where they would automatically configure themselves to catch the sun and then shoot the heat to like this thing in the center that basically generates steam power, right?
Yeah.
Well, dude, that was based on that plant you're talking about on the way to Vegas from California.
Right.
And it's incredible. Like when you drive
it looks
by
like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. It's really weird.
it's so
But
freaking cool looking, you guys.
Yeah.
But you know what? We are essentially high-tech steam engines. Hello.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
well, what I was gonna say is, where I can't go and find solar panel farms in science fiction steam generators is to my mom and dad's house up in Oregon. There's no such thing up there.
Right.
The sun's not out up there, and it's just
So even if the sun's out, okay, Joker
it's
Vice is
not-
a good point. Making solar panels releases a ton of CO2 gas. So people go, oh, they're carbon neutral. No. If you discount the creation of the panels, they can become carbon neutral. But the actual creation of those panels are not carbon neutral. They use a ton of carbon credits. So here's the deal. Solar panels are really cool sci-fi tech that is I feel like investing in long-term is investing in a diminishing return. The best you can possibly do from a solar panel with the current technology is like a 8% return, which is not very good. And that's in the best parts of the country.
And it can't get much better.
And it can't get much better. And so when Elon Musk says that, he's not lying, but he is omitting the fact that we are talking about solar panels 5 generations from now after we've invested another $1 trillion into research. It's not something that's going to happen now with current technology. Fusion, on the other hand, has actual potential. It is literally on the cusp of scientific progress. I would argue that we should have never have stopped using nuclear power to begin with. We went crazy and worried about how nuclear power is going to make mutant Godzillas and Chernobyl and all this fear mongering. Took one of the cleanest sources of energy to ever be devised and made it evil. And it's not.
Who do you think ran with those campaigns and pushed for them? I bet a lot of oil companies were behind it. I also think a lot of the green. It's like the one area where you probably actually had a lot of interesting, strange bedfellows, as the expression goes, is I wouldn't be surprised if the whole green energy movement and big oil were both working together to try to do away with and put down nuclear power and everything attached to it.
Yeah,
because
wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. Nuclear power is by far the most efficient, the highest return we can get on investment. And the fact that we essentially criminalized it, in the minds of American people is insane. We took something that could have progressed us, decades into the future, and we made it something that was bad. And it's not bad at all. Nuclear power plants are incredibly safe, incredibly efficient. And to be fair, though, they are still essentially just high-tech steam engines, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not the only person here that we are still using steam engine technology, guys. Like, solar panels is a steam engine. Even wind turbines are essentially steam engines, but without the steam. We're still using the steam engines, essentially.
The wind turbines killed the poor birds, so we can't.
Well, and you want to talk about really inefficient energy production methods? Wind farms cost so much money, carbon, time, effort to create a single wind turbine, not a farm. Single one.
You ever drive down?
Watch the Landman. He
just
explains
the one clip. The one clip alone.
Clip explains it
so good,
perfectly, dude. And when in that show, when he was like, "Yeah, you know what the biggest usage of wind turbines are." Oil companies. When he said that, I was like, oh my God, I had to go look it up. And he's right. The biggest users of wind turbines are oil companies. Wind turbines are not, it will take 15 years of no maintenance, pure use in almost perfect conditions in order to get a return on your investment, which has never happened in the history of wind turbines.
That's what I love about Taylor Sheridan shows is every episode or so, he always has to drop one couple really strong lines of knowledge on people.
Wild.
That makes everybody.
There you go. There's your steam engine, bro.
This is what it's useful for, though. Like something small like this, where bug out kits, everyday carry stuff, where it's like, look, let's say that there is. Like,
have you ever tried to keep that going though? You got
this thing. No. So, but it's funny because it's got the solar panel, but it's also got the thing that you can, actually. But for an emergency situation, it's got everything that you would need. That's what solar should be used for, not
solar panels. Great off grid
scale,
but you can't on grid that shit.
Yeah. What was so interesting about the Landman thing, and he was basically like the oil companies use the wind turbines to power the pumps that they create, right, to get the oil out of the ground. But the wind turbines also require like thousands of gallons of oil just to produce.
Right.
So like it's not like it's good for the environment or anything like that. It's like a complete scam.
Yeah. It's all these energy sources are diminishing returns on diminishing returns, and nuclear power and fission are the closest thing we have. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I want to throw this to Odin about like the impact of Donald Trump basically creating his own energy company to power the future of cheap, clean, and abundant energy in America.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, obviously. And I think that obviously we have to remember that because he's president, he does not, or at least should not, have direct access to the decision makings of that business entity because of conflict of interest and other things. But obviously it's got his name on it, and he obviously knows the people that are involved and is very, I imagine, very heavily, in on all of those discussions. But it does show us, I think, also the kind of the future of where things will be. This is him setting up also, or at the very least his company setting up for him to what will be happening after he leaves office, right? Which is going to be at the forefront of development of energy, social media, of course, with True Social, amongst many other things. But honestly, this would be a bit more impressive for me if I actually heard and saw President Trump, and even more importantly, Congress also following suit with this, pushing forth legislation to remove the red tape, or at least some of the red tape surrounding the development and building of nuclear power plants. Because if they could do that, and if we could just free up that ability, and obviously still have safety regulations, still have all the things that should be there, but not the over encumbering things that are just there to slow things down for the benefit of the oil companies, for the benefit of the green renewables, or whatever it is that you want to call them, and allow that energy to finally come. Because once those happen, once every city or major city at the very least has 1, 2, 3, however many you might need of these plants, they can run on just those, and they won't need to have those other ones anymore. It solves the whole issue that you hear from climate environmentalists where they say, oh, but our fossil fuels are limited. Well, guess what? Once nuclear power has been implemented, there won't be as much need for those resources anymore. And so guess what? Now we can start to actually save them and use them for things that they actually are needed for. And all those other things that kind of fall by the wayside after the fact. But that's also why you're seeing pushback, because if that ever happens, and if it becomes to the point where it obviously could happen, where it could run entire cities and you wouldn't need any other forms of energy. Again, that's down the road, because you have to have the infrastructure, you have to have all those other things, right, that are important. But it does obviously spell the end for the massive companies and corporations that exist today that make billions upon billions, because they are still very much needed as far as the natural resources that we use.
Well, Rec Thoughts has an interesting comment here for $5. Interesting timing of Trump's company merging with this fusion company right when the MIT fusion specialist is filled with life-ending lead.
Yeah, that's
a
good point, dog.
It wasn't just the Trump thing. There was also, I believe it was China also was like trying to make inroads into this and stuff like that. But what was interesting about the MIT guy is that he was Jewish, right? And so like there's other stuff at play in this guy's murder, because he was murdered in his home.
It's the Jews.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, boy.
It's the Jews.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, where's Candace Owens when you need her, right? Pseudo Nombot for $5. I was trying to think of something nice to say as a send-off, so here goes: redacted. Yes, part of the Epstein files, no less.
Got to protect those massage girls' names.
Yeah.
It's very important.
John Yulden for £4.99. Come and live here where our stupid government is spending billions on solar tech and at the same time spraying chemicals to block out the sun. Yes. UK never disappoints, guys. But speaking of disappoints, guys, we got some breaking news here from Dutch Butters himself. James Gunn has cast their Brainiac for Superman Man of Tomorrow. A guy named Lars Edinger.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, never heard of this guy. No idea who he is or what he's been in, but this is your new Brainiac.
He looks like Brainiac.
I thought it was just going to be exciting that Brainiac is confirmed for the new movie. A lot of people want to see it.
Well,
already,
he's been confirmed for a while, and there was like a bunch of casting speculation with way better actors than what this guy is. So I have no idea.
This guy might be a really good
meaning actor. We don't really know the quality of his acting because I don't know anything that he's been in, but at the very least, bigger names for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was in a movie called J. Kelly, Dead Language, The Light, and Dying. And I guess he's a German guy. Or something like
Jay
that.
Kelly is a newer
he's
film.
a German guy.
So
Yes,
Brainiac's
German.
going to talk like this.
maybe he's a new Christoph Waltz or something.
Going to have a German accent.
That's a bingo.
Well, guys, real quick, I wanted to also talk about some interesting news, which is basically NASA is going back to the moon.
Sure they are.
All right.
Well,
Sure they are.
So the newly
Going
confirmed,
back as if we went already.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
the newly confirmed NASA administrator just announced that they're months away from sending American astronauts around the moon for the first time in half a century. They want to get up there and establish a lunar base and start doing like all types of like fun experiments and stuff like that. And what's interesting to me is basically I remember when Obama basically put all the brakes on NASA, where it's like we're not going back to the moon, we're not even going into space. And that opened the door for like Elon Musk with SpaceX and stuff like that to make space exploration privatized. And it's good to see that the government's actually getting back into the space race once more. I've been wondering why we haven't had a lunar base for a long time. But
Have you
I
ever
think
seen
it's
Space 1999? That's why, because a big accident happens and the moon gets shot off into the universe where they have fun space adventures with aliens
right.
and really cool ships.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But guys, what do you think about going back to the moon and actually having like a actual
A
lunar
moon
base?
base.
But how do you make
moon
it through
base.
the
Moon base.
I'm
radiation?
going to
now?
make a moon base.
It's Moon Base Alpha. Yes.
Brian, you just need a poop shield. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Ow! You shot me, you a-hole.
There you go. Well, I'm excited about that news.
Yeah.
At the very least, I think. it'd be
Especially
I
if
cool.
thought
we get the
I thought they
space
already
age
announced that.
This came from CBS News a couple days ago, the 18th. So
What about the whole Artemis thing?
I don't know.
Part of me hopes that, like, in the wake of this news, then Elon Musk just comes out and says, "All right, we're sending people to the moon tomorrow." It's like, oh, okay, just to one up NASA.
SpaceX already has a moon base. They just
There you go. All right, we got Novus Tullius for $9.99. Dr. Target here. Oh, hey, Dr. Target.
It's a doc.
Brian is 100% correct about nuclear power and its role in our energy needs. Nuclear fusion is the future, but does still involve using heat to make
That's true.
steam to turn into turbine. To turn a turbine, FYI.
Right. That's true.
We can never argue with Dr. Target because he's always right. One of the smartest
You
men
know,
alive.
I that episode we did with Dr. Target where he came into the studio and we reviewed that terrible Chinese movie where they fitted the Earth with hundreds of rockets to move it to another solar system or some shit.
Yep. Spaceship Earth.
Crazy, dude. Crazy. Yeah, that
All
was
right,
that was-
Rinsler 77's comment is just phenomenal. I don't know if you
he's
can
got it.
pull that up because that is spot on. That is what I want to see happen.
Here it is. Hold on, I got it.
If we cover the moon in solar panels and run a power cable to Earth, imagine the possibility.
Imagine.
I just want to see
Huge.
the building of this long cable
Yeah.
between us and because that's not going to create any problems whatsoever
not at
with the
all.
whole spinning and everything like that. Yeah, that's
Some
Rotations, gravity, resources.
things flying through space.
Well, guys, speaking of things flying through space, I want to get Odin's insight into the Avatar box office or projected box office, because everyone's favorite franchise is being released this weekend. And they're saying that Avatar Fire and Ash aims for a $100 million debut domestically, could reach as high as $350 million worldwide. I don't know who's continuing to watch these movies because I stopped after the first one. But Odin, share with us your box office numbers and your insights.
Yeah, my first thing will say, I'm so thankful that in the world that we live in today, especially with systems like the R systems out there, that one does not need to sit 3 hours and 15 minutes anymore when one is able just to find something to set it to a 1.5 speed and get through it much faster and not have the torture be lasting nearly as long. But even with that kind of to the side, yeah, the box office for this film is going to be insane. But what's interesting is we're also seeing a trend occur, right? It seems like we've had a lot more, but this is only our third Avatar film. It honestly, at this point, because they've taken so long between, especially the first and second films, and there will be another long break between the third and then the fourth and fifth films, which will also be filmed around simultaneously. Which, according to IMDb, actually, the fourth film is done with filming, and now it's just in post-production and will be in post-production for like good 2 years potentially. So it's just like kind of goes into how crazy that whole system has ultimately become. But we are also seeing the trends that the films are making much less as time has gone on. So the early indications are that they're projected, at least from Deadline, and obviously take their numbers with a grain of salt, is that Fire and Ash is going to be making domestically only about 85 to 90 million dollars in its 3-day opening weekend. Now, there's some numbers out there saying it could be as high as 100. If you think about other films from this year, even films the last couple of weeks that were able to have pretty big openings, think about Wicked, think about Zootopia 2, they had much bigger openings than that. The one thing to keep in mind is that though the number is lower than those films, it is also lower than the other Avatar films, especially when you adjust for things like inflation. But Avatar does usually do numbers down the line, right? Those are films that tend to hold very well, especially since they're so long, especially since they're so built up as events. People want to wait and take their time to go and see it because the films really have no actual content within them. Meaning that there's no like life or heart within them. It's hard to really have spoilers, so people don't feel the need to see it right away either, because it's like not like you're going to be spoiled much on anything, because that would require there to be, you know, an actual story and good story behind the films, and these are just not things that these films have. So you have all these things and all these different factors going on. You also have the early estimates being that the global total is going to be about 340 to 350 for its global opening, which again is pretty big for most films, especially the last few years. But for other films in general, there have been bigger releases. There have been bigger starting off points. The question is going to be, are we going to see the same legs that the other two Avatar films have had? Because they both did have legs down the line where they didn't have as big of openings, but, you know, made money later on. Or are we going to see these trends continue, which is, okay, you have a lower starting point and then also a lower, for the second film, a lower final number too. So they lost quite a bit of audience between Avatar 1 and 2. I am thinking right now, based on the numbers that we're seeing, we're going to see yet another chunk of fans and another chunk of audience disappearing from this movie as well. Because you are going to have this film have a chance to, and this is going to sound crazy, but this is where we are with these films now. This is going to be likely the first Avatar film to not hit $2 billion. Or at least there's a chance that it won't. You think about the last two films, and both of them made well over $2 billion easily. This film right now is tracking to, at the very least, have a pretty early on battle between it and Zootopia 2 as far as which films make more money globally. Right now, Zootopia 2 has a much stronger edge because it's done a lot better in various locations and countries, especially in China, where it's kind of just insane numbers going on over there. But you are going to see down the line whether or not Avatar is going to have that same holding power that it's had for the first two films, or if it's going to also fall behind and track behind those other films and end up at a smaller number. Right now, I'm thinking it's going to be less than 200 million by the end of it, or sorry, 2 billion by the end of it. At least that's my hope, because if these films continue to make less and less and less, I'm hoping that's a sign to the studio of, okay, we're making money for now, but we're just spending $400 million or more on a production budget for these movies, and that's not including your marketing cost. You're having to make around $1.2 billion to break even. Okay, if you're making less than $2 billion, you're talking about a much lower return on investment. And if it gets lower with number 4, now you're getting close to not breaking even. And then to number 5, if it gets lower after that, then you're talking about maybe even losing money on a film like this that could still end up making over $1 billion by then at that point too. So yeah, crazy numbers. And I don't just like you, I don't understand it, why people go out to watch this nonsense.
Well, Brian, James Cameron, he's been doing the interview circuit to promote this movie. But one of the things that he announced is that he's creating a AI company specifically geared towards visual effects, so that visual effects studios can deliver Avatar style effects cheaper and faster than normal with the use of AI, which could be a big advantage going into Avatar 4 and 5, because basically the reason these things take so long is because it's very CGI heavy, it's very effects heavy. But if AI can do it just as good, quicker, and cheaper, then chances are that they could get these movies out faster. What do you think about that?
I mean, he's not wrong, but I like AI, but I don't like it replacing people like that. I feel like it should be a tool. It shouldn't be like, give it to the capitalists for being like, how can we completely remove any humans from the equation altogether? Instead of thinking smartly and saying, how can we utilize this as a tool to make our current humans even better at their job?
Yeah, but Brian, humans want to get fed and paid, and and they complained and they want new contracts.
But
and
I know it's
But-
super
but-
inconvenient to have to pay
they're-
people for things.
humans
but-
are
but-
a pain in the ass, man.
but guys, I mean that's essentially what, like Brian, what you were just arguing. That's essentially what Cameron was doing, where he's like, okay, like we're still going to have humans doing this stuff. It's just we need less of them, and they can work a lot faster with the help of these tools. So, you know, I think overall it's a net positive, especially because Cameron's always been a very technologically forward-facing dude. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're not wrong. I
Me
don't know,
too.
man. It just feels like James Cameron. If it was only James Cameron was in charge, then I'd be like, yeah, okay, that can work. But it's not. It's going to be like these money-hungry suits in studios. They're like, how can we further minimize having to pay people's livelihoods? Like, I can totally see it end up, they shrink it by 90% and it's 10% of the studio, and they're still cranking and killing themselves to get something done in time while using AI. And the only people benefiting here, are studios. Like creativity isn't benefiting. It's just big giant businesses. Go ahead.
I'm trying. I'm probably going to change the subject just a little bit, but I'm trying to figure out in my brain, because Odin said these Avatar movies, they bring home like $2 billion. I seriously, I cannot think of a single person that I know, that I work with, that I converse with, that actually has spent a dime on an Avatar movie in the last few years. Who goes and watches these movies?
Yeah, I have zero
I
interest in
don't
it.
know anybody who watches these movies
Wild.
for them to have a $2 billion box office. That's insane to me.
Dutch, I don't know if you know this, but there's an NGO that took USAID money just to buy tickets for Avatar. So,
but you know what I'm saying, right? I don't know anybody who's
Those people should be shot.
So where
there's a bunch of Somali fans of Avatar out there, guys. $18 billion.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about
I think it's
Avatar
fake.
1.
I think it's bullshit. It's fake.
Well, for Avatar 1, it made $2.9 billion.
Feels fake.
Avatar 1, I went and watched Avatar 1.
Yeah.
I went and watched Avatar 1 because like everybody else did, because it was the next great big mind-blowing tech step in
Tech
movie.
advancement. Right. Yeah. That's why I watched it.
And I wanted to see it. And I went for that reason and that reason only.
Yeah.
Because I knew ahead of time it was Ferngully in space, but I wanted to see the tech levels of stuff. And it was really cool. But I don't know anybody who went and watched the second one, and I don't know anybody who's going to watch the new one. Yeah. So for them to be able to have this much money coming in is weird to me. I mean, China, I guess.
It's the internationals that are showing up in droves, right? Because the first film, it was 785 million of that 2.9 billion was domestic. So it made 2.1 billion internationally.
That's
crazy. 1.6 billion for The Way of Water. What I actually find most interesting, though, is that the total home market sales, that's DVD and Blu-ray sales, $434 million for the first Avatar film. Now, again, those don't get reported for the entirety of their run. It's just they take from like the very first days of sales and try to like get some metric for it, compared to the second film, which only had 24 million. So 434 million dropping to 24 million in physical media sales. So you're also seeing that these movies, and I think these movies are a big part of it, have also led to, in many ways, the death of the movie industry in general because of their push for CGI and for their push of artificial content and of just really bad storytelling. I think that, for instance, when the first Avatar film came out, what happened? Every studio started to post-convert all of their films to 3D, and that became the new thing for a long time, and it was the most annoying thing ever. And luckily, a lot of that's gone away, but there's still some films that do still have the post-release 3D and everything like that. Obviously, Avatar still tries to push that nonsense, but I think it's done a lot of damage.
You know what else has done a lot of damage, guys? Fluffy Panda. Who is dropping $5. Thanks. You got me all excited. I wouldn't have to listen to Brian's horrible takes anymore. Sigh. Oh, well, pick on you next year. Good luck on OnlyFans, Dutchy boy. Yes. With the
See you next year, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Yep.
Also, someone mentioned China earlier. What's actually going to be the most fascinating is a single day total for this new Avatar film was 17 million on its opening day in China. That's up against 200 or so million that was the opening day in for Zootopia 2. So we're talking just not even on the same level.
There cannot be that many furry freaks out there.
Zootopia is looking like it's going to have
Zootopia.
twice the China box office versus Avatar
That's wild.
if the
Makes
trends
sense to me.
continue.
Well, you guys, speaking of AI, did you know that YouTube recently shut down 2 of the biggest AI trailer channels on the platform? This is kind of interesting. So, like, you have these 2 channels. One is the India-based Screen Culture, and the other is the Georgia, and by Georgia it means Russia, based KH Studio that have
love those
amassed
titles.
over 1 billion views. But yeah, so like.
I love those titles so much.
So like what's crazy is like you had these channels that were making like AI generated trailers for movies that didn't exist, and they were like big things like having to do with Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that. And we've all been duped by these before, where it's like, oh, the new Avengers Doomsday trailer, let's go check that out, and it's like nothing to do with like the actual Avengers Doomsday. But YouTube has been doing a big crackdown on what it's called inauthentic content lately. And a lot of that is to kind of combat AI slop or low effort shit missiles, as Dutch Butters has dubbed it. And the idea here is that these 2 channels were warned numerous times to clean up their act, but they continued, like after briefly cleaning up their act, they continued to do a lot of like clickbaity, misleading headlines and stuff like that. And so now YouTube basically just like nuked their channels and banned them outright. And I think that this is indicative of like a much larger issue on this platform, where basically YouTube simultaneously wants to embrace AI and provide it as a tool for creators, but at the same time wants to curb all the low effort shit missiles, much like my Heat thing with Brian and Odin. They want to nuke content like that from ever seeing light on the platform. But I want to get your guys' take on this. Do you think that this is a overall good thing for YouTube to be doing? We'll start with you, Dutch.
I don't know. I don't know where I'm at on it. I feel like people need to be able to have a place to share their creations. I don't know. I enjoy watching the AI created weirdness that people come up with out there. I mean, sure. What is it hurting something? Are they not getting any ad revenue off of off these videos?
They're not getting enough ad revenue, bro.
Is that it? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Sure it's something like that, something stupid.
I don't know what the answer is. AI is a tool. People are going to use it to create things, and if it's more of a copyright thing, then fine, I understand that. But people are still going to be able to be using it to do things, and I think people need a place to share them, and that's YouTube for most people these days right now. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. But
I mean, I've gotten suckered in a couple of times where like I see like a trailer for like a new show I like for instance, like Silo season 3 trailer just dropped.
Yeah.
And you go to it and you realize really quickly it's like, oh, this trailer's fake.
I like the stuff. I like the stuff out there. Like you go through like Instagram or YouTube Shorts or whatever, and there's this one last night that where this guy rescues a polar bear, and he's out kayaking in the North Pole, and it's running away from a shark, and he fights the shark off, and the polar bear jumps in the boat, and then he ends up taking care of this little baby polar bear, and his mom comes and finds it, and he befriends his mom polar bear thing. It's just like, and it looks so real. And it's got the music playing in the background, and it's like, and you're like, wait a second, this is fake. This is fake as hell. But I don't know. It's just weird. I like it when people make things that can trick you for some reason. And then I don't know.
Brian, what do you think about YouTube purging AI trailer channels? Brian?
Oh, sorry. I think it's probably a good thing, even though I think I have one. So I'm gonna have to check on that to make sure it's still around. I think it's a good thing. I think that AI is great for creativity, and especially for YouTubers when there's a limited amount of resources we have. So we don't have giant studios and stuff like that. So utilizing AI to be able to create creatively what we want to produce is really cool. I know a lot of people hate that, but whatever. It's progress, guys. But when the entire thing is AI, it's like there's no soul in it whatsoever, and it's sort of gross. And the whole like, I've never been duped by a stupid trailer, but the second you see like screen culture or whatever, I'm like, oh, it's fake, like right away. But there used to be an art to making the fake trailer. You guys remember this?
Mhm.
Like, in order to make a fake trailer that people actually liked, there was soul to it. And even if people knew it was bad, the best ones, they were like, I don't even care. This is not real. It's cool. But the second you bring AI into it, it just becomes soul crushing and completely void of anything good and so uncanny. I miss the old days where these trailer companies had to actually work to create something that fooled you for just a second enough for you to keep watching. AI just made it soulless, essentially.
Odin, what do you think about this trend of YouTube cracking down on AI-based stuff? Because I think the big issue here wasn't so much that they were using AI, it's that they were misleading people into thinking this AI stuff was real.
Yeah, I think that if they maybe even had the opportunity to, and it sounds like they did because they were getting warned, if they were like parody channels, and it was very clearly parody channels, and so they were making these fake trailers, I think there is a place for that because that's entertainment. That is a way of trying to make people laugh, right? Because there's some AI stuff out there that I think is being done in the way that it should be, which is for laughs, for kicks, something that's very clearly not real, something that's very clearly being generated and not real, but it still has like that realistic enough approach, which is why whatever they have the characters doing on screen can be somewhat funny. I'm obviously a lot more against AI in general, especially when it comes to like the graphical side of it, simply because I do think that because of where it's taking that information from and how in many ways it's, copying, the art of others and turning into it its own thing. And it could create a lot of problems into the future, especially. I've seen it also as a teacher from that respect of how it creates a lot of brain rot because kids don't think for themselves anymore if they lose their creativity, because instead of taking the time to think about their own ideas, they'll just put it in AI and ask AI to give them ideas and to, do all the work for them, basically, right? It's one thing to use it as like a research assistant, which is, I think, the best use case for it, which is, okay, I'm doing research on something. I know how to ask questions. I know what I'm looking for, but I just need help finding the quotes or finding the sources, right? Like that's, I think, a good use for it. But when it comes to things like this, when it comes to like the content creation side of it, I think that is also a good place for it if it is being done clearly as parody. If it's not, and it's being used in a serious way to, try to confuse people or anything like that, I think that is probably a step too far.
It isn't a step too far.
I agree with that, bro.
That transition, that's what.
We got Dread Pirate Mikey 6,400 for $10. New direction sounds great. Looking forward to special guest Dutch Butters. Thanks for all the great content. Yes, we've been having a good time every Saturday sharing this stuff with you guys. But
call them Dutch Raiders now. Dutch Raiders. You
guys know what isn't fun is the Oscars, and apparently YouTube has gotten a deal to start hosting the Oscars and all Oscars related content in 2029. So in a couple years, the Oscars is going to be leaving its home since its inception on ABC and is going to be exclusively on YouTube. And I think a lot of people are kind of surprised by this because everyone's like, who the fuck watches the Oscars anymore? Who cares? But it is, like, in terms of industry clout, it's a big deal for YouTube because it's just, it's kind of cementing them as like the new entertainment industry, tastemakers and stuff like that. So it's kind of an interesting development, in my opinion, even though I think most audience just doesn't care. But I wanted to get your guys' take on it. Brian, what's your take on YouTube basically getting the Oscars?
Stupid. I mean, it's just so stupid, right? I think that the Oscars haven't been relevant for a while, and I'm not the only person that believes that way. I mean, multiple hosts have gone up there and said the same thing. So yeah. I don't know why we keep humoring these legacy media companies that really want to hold on to their limited power. Like, the people have spoken with their dollars, with their wallets, with their voices on social media. They're just like, we don't care about your fart sniffing awards, dude. Back off. We need authenticity. We want genuine people and genuine opinions. We don't care about your backroom deal bullcrap. So go away. So it's gonna fail like everything else does.
Odin, what do you think about this development?
Well, as far as the Oscar side of it, I think for them it is a good decision because they need to. They need to innovate. They need to do something because their ratings have been in the gutter for a long time, and they have not been gaining new people. Their relevancy gets diminished every year. I'm someone, for a background on me, for those that don't know, I used to be all into the Oscars. I used to like follow the Oscars every year. I did Oscars bowling every year, where you like predict the categories and try to get like a perfect score, which is predicting all the categories correctly. And I had a blog back in the day. That's why my initial channel's name was Odin's Movie Blog, because I actually had a blog where I would put not only like reviews, but also my picks for who was going to win, who should be the winner, the black horse in the race, like all that stuff. I loved it. I used to know things like this. So for those that don't know, if you ever want to know who's going to win Best Picture at the Oscars, look at your nominations for editing, because almost every film that's ever won for Best Picture has at the very least had an editing nomination. I still know that because that was the kind of stuff that I actually got into quite a bit. And then the Oscars got more and more political. Right, as time has gone on, this was probably well over a decade ago at this point that this started to really get to the front. Really, during the era of Obama, I would say things got really, really bad. There was a moment when, if it wasn't Barack, I think it was actually Michelle Obama. She was able to announce the Best Picture winner one year, I believe. That was, I think, the year that I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm sorry. Like, this is ridiculous. Why are we now having someone from the White House tell us who's going to win Best Picture? Like, what relevancy does that have? This is ridiculous. So anyway, that's kind of my background with the Oscars. So they have to be doing something like this, though, because no one's watching them anymore. And now it's actually going to make me happier, because now we get to see how few people watch it in real time.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Can't wait.
I do not suspect it's going to work out the same way that they think, because they're going to see some of these massive streaming channels getting millions of watchers and viewers, especially like gaming channels getting hundreds of thousands of people watching them. And they're going to think, oh, let's get into that. And then they're going to realize, oh boy, it's going to be more like the announcements shows that get maybe a couple thousand people.
There's going to be channels like Nerdrotic or something that'll do a watch along on his channel watching the Oscars, and that'll have twice as many people watching the Oscars through there than on the actual Oscars channel itself. It'll be really fun.
Well, one of the interesting things is getting it away from ABC. So like Disney won't be able to like copy strike live streams that are watching it live, right? It's going to be embedded into YouTube, and YouTube would want that, that reach that, if people are doing like a live watch along of the Oscars, I don't see YouTube striking those channels or like shutting them down or anything like that. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, for that one, I'm not sure, because we know how easily YouTube bends the knee to any corporation. And so don't be surprised if ABC is still going to try to have the automatic system of copywriting streams and such, because that's just what they would do. Like, I would not put it past them to still try and shut that down.
Yeah, ABC and Warner Brothers are, and pretty much any major studio, are really bad about copy striking stuff that would initially help them.
Yep.
I just don't understand their mentality on that. Yeah. Dutch, would you watch a YouTube-based Oscars?
No, I don't watch them now. I'm not going to watch them then. I might turn into some channel who's showing them and make fun of them.
Watch my Raven Awards instead.
I watch Raven Awards every year.
There you go.
Yeah. The only thing
your nominations right now.
To me, this is a really step down for them. I think they're finally trying to realize that they suck, so they're going to the streaming world. I really would have liked to have seen them on an even better channel like Tubi or Freebie or something like that. That would have been even better. So, just put them out there where they're not relevant and people can't find them anymore. So they should just have an award show stream channel. They could have the Directors Guild Awards and the Golden Globes and the Writers one and the Oscars, and then throw like the Gamer Awards and the Streamer Awards and all the other things on there too. You just have a streaming channel that nobody will ever watch and nobody can care about.
No one will ever watch it.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, guys. The final story I want to talk about for our final episode today is one that we've been covering for the past couple of shows, and it's all about Warner Brothers and all the bids to basically take them over. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but Paramount had gone for a hostile takeover bid, and essentially Paramount had, or I should say, Warner Brothers has rejected it. Now you can't actually reject this bid, but the Warner Brothers board of directors basically said that this bid is kind of smoke and mirrors. There's no actual, what do you call it? There's no actual guarantee on this bid because it's based off of the Ellison's like revocable trust, I believe is what it's called, which basically means that at any point assets from that trust can be transferred out. So it's kind of like a, like a false sense of security because like the bid, the hostile takeover bid is backed by that. And Warner Brothers was like, well, if the Ellisons were serious, they'd be backing this with their personal trust. And so like they're basically calling out the Ellisons to put their money where their mouth is. And Trump has weighed in on this again too, because he's like, I don't like the Ellisons. Like, have you seen what CBS News has been saying about me lately? It's like it's worse than before they took over. So like he kind of like poo-pooed on the Ellisons a little bit there as well. Jared Kushner has pulled out of the consortium that put together the $30 per share bid price. So like now, like, he's out of the equation completely. It's just the Saudi wealth funds and the Oracle Ellisons and stuff like that. But I read through the letter basically that the Warner Brothers board of directors wrote to all their shareholders, including Brian down there, saying that you need to reject this offer, even though on paper it's it's more money, but the Netflix deal is actually more financially sound. And we think this is where we want to go. And they actually specified that the Netflix deal is just for the spinoff of Warner Brothers that's going to have all like the movie IPs and stuff like that. All the TV networks, and including CNN and stuff like that, that are going to be in the Discovery spinoff company is not part of the Netflix deal. So, and basically the shareholders of Warner Brothers currently are going to have shares in that company as well. It's going to be a standalone thing. And I believe David Zaslav is probably going to continue on as CEO of that company. So a lot of interesting new details announced, but Brian, as a shareholder, if somebody's offering you $30 for your shares of Warner Brothers, are you going to turn that down?
I'm a little torn. I definitely want to see the stock keep going up, although it's pretty much going to cap out around $30. Like no one's going to buy it past that. But I don't know who would do better with it. And so as a shareholder, I would rather have the $30, but then I don't know if that's correct either, because the Netflix deal allows the stock to split, which would make me a couple bucks on each one of those Discovery shares, and then also gives me Netflix shares. So even if it's $27 capped for each Warner Brothers share, what about the extra couple bucks in Discovery share and the couple bucks you're going to make in your fractional Netflix shares? I mean, it's entirely possible the Netflix deal is actually worth more to shareholders than the Skydance deal. And I'm not an expert, so I'm not really sure how it works, but I do know, well, $27. Even if Discovery is a junk stock, it's going to be worth a couple bucks, right? So it splits, and you end up with, you're going to probably end up with $30 of valuation anyways, with more options. So I don't know. As a shareholder, I don't know which deal is better. I do know that I feel weird about two things. I feel weird about Netflix, which is the number one streaming service on the planet, buying the number 3 streaming service on the planet. I have an issue with that. But then I also have an issue with sort of Skydance Paramount. They're not the streaming wise, it wouldn't be a monopoly, but what about all the other, I don't know about another like legacy studio just absorbing another studio. And there's politics in play too. I don't really know if I trust the Ellisons. Like, I'm a conservative, and I know they're conservatives, but are they the good kind of, what kind of conservative are you? I don't know if they're the kind of conservatives I like. Because there's conservatives that are all about freedom of speech and freedoms to people. And there's the conservatives that, like the rhinos, like the old school, just money hungry suits. And I'm not a fan of those guys. So I don't really know. I don't know which deal's better. I was leaning toward Netflix originally, because Netflix was saying things like, "Oh, we're gonna utilize this as a way to get into theaters," and I'm like, I don't believe you. But what you're saying is nice, like saying that you're gonna like honor and respect the theatrical window, and you're gonna utilize this to get Netflix into theaters. What's stopping you now from doing that? Like, you don't need to buy Warner Brothers to put your movie out in theaters for longer than a day. So I'm not sure, like, they're saying the right things, but I'm not sure if I think they're full of shit. And I'm not, and the Ellisons, troubling. They have a troubling, very corporate history. And I don't know what's better for shareholders, and I'm not sure what's better for entertainment. I'm hoping that both of them get shut down and Warner Brothers is forced to just exist on its own, because not a single studio can buy Warner Brothers and not be liable for antitrust laws. Because in my opinion, any studio right now, because there's only a few, any studio outside of like Angel Studios, which couldn't afford it, buying Warner Brothers would be antitrust. It would be serious. And you know what? 30 years ago, the government would never allow it. Now we're really lax on our monopoly rules. Like we basically like, yeah, it's an oligopoly, no big deal. Like, what? That is a big deal. But so I'm not sure. I'm hoping that maybe it just doesn't get approved, and this whole thing just punt my stock price to the moon, and it gives Warner Brothers the steam they need to just exist on their own and keep trucking and making cool crap.
Well, I want to ask Dutch, who would you prefer to own Warner Brothers, Netflix or Paramount?
I don't know, dude. I it's like I honestly I don't know. I don't care. This stuff is just one big business gobbling up another big business, which will be gobbled up by another one at some point, or they'll piece it out and sell it to other things. It's just this big corporate nonsense with a bunch of fake numbers on a spreadsheet in a computer. It's bullshit. Just doesn't matter to me. Nothing we can do about it. So just entertain us and whatever. It's fine.
All right. Odin, do you think Paramount still has a shot, or is Netflix, did they basically have Warner's in the bag?
I mean, I would say the most likely scenario is Netflix goes through with it, but just because it's the most likely scenario doesn't mean that it's going to happen. I think that ultimately, I mean, it depends on how successful they are in buying up shares and getting people to kind of, sign on with them, which again, money talks. Money can be very effective, and so it's clear that they are very motivated by all of this. But if Netflix was going to fail, honestly, I think it would be because of some strong arming done by either the FCC or the president through them to stop the deal from going forward, the merger from going forward, if anything. As I said, most likely scenario is that it just goes through and Netflix buys them. But there is still a chance. I think it's like 25% chance at this point that they get it. 25% chance, being that something happens that keeps them from getting it, whether that be involvement of president or government agency for antitrust or something similar to that, or personal favors, or whether it be because of the attempted takeover through the shares. It could be either one.
Well, speaking of money talking, guys, we have Danny the Dork Knight for $5. Miss you, Matt, Vader, and Brian. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Give Jude and Alex my love as well. Hope to see you all again soon. Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate you. Well, guys, all good things must come to an end, and thus we have reached the end of our very last Salty Saturday show. We had a lot to talk about today, and we talked about. I want to thank you all for taking this 3-year journey with us and sticking with us to the end. As I said, this is not the end for the Salty Nerd Podcast channel. We're still going to be creating content, and we're going to be coming back with a new live stream, just without Dutch Butters, and we didn't feel it was right to continue Salty Saturdays without him. But for the final time, my expert panel of nerds, any final thoughts, and where can people find more of you? Let's start with Odin of OMB Reviews, Lord of the Pineapple Pizza, King of the Shells. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm really. We're getting ready to head over to our neighbors for like a play date with our kids, and then cookie exchange for the holidays kind of thing. And I'm not a very social person, so it's like I'd rather be playing some Arc Raiders, but hey, cookies are great. But yeah, you can find me over at OMB Reviews talking about box office stuff around 3 p.m. Tomorrow. My box office video is typically live by then. And right now, the early indication is Avatar is going to be well on its way to $1 billion, is something that I predicted basically as soon as they announced it. These are films that are essentially guaranteed to make at least $1 billion, but it'll be interesting to see exactly how much it makes and how little it is in comparison to the previous films in the franchise. And so covering that, also geeksandgamers.com. I still write articles every week for geeksandgamers.com on the box office and sometimes on other things. And this has been a ton of fun, and I am looking forward to continuing to come back here on Saturdays with whatever the new show is and continue to hang out with you guys because this is always fun.
All right. And Brian from the Popcast, thank you so much for being with us from the very beginning. You've got the brain show coming up immediately after this episode is over. So give us your final thoughts, and let us know what you got cooking for the brain show.
Well, final thoughts. It's been fun. I'm gonna miss doing it with my boy Dutch here. But I'm excited to see what what Matt comes up with next. And you know me, I'm here for it. Always here for it. So I'm excited for next year. And it's been a fun time. I've enjoyed it. I think we took I was gone for I think we took a break, and then I was gone for a couple weeks, and I remember thinking, oh, it's been 3 weeks since I've seen Odin. And I messaged Odin, and I was like, hey bro, I miss you, buddy. You don't realize that you enjoy spending time with people until you haven't spent time with them for a little bit. So I hope it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see what we do next year. And that's it. Yeah, I am going on right after this, and we're talking about Epstein and Trump and entertainment, and just having a good time. It's also our last show of the year, so we'll be going a little haywire. Hope you guys can join us.
All right.
Now, Dutch, it's been a long journey for us. We've been doing this pretty much every Saturday for the past 3.5 years or so on. And this was initially your baby, and we kind of teamed up to make sure it happened on a regular basis. So give everyone a final goodbye and let them know where they can find you going forward.
Well, goodbye to people on the Salty Saturday show. Like I said, I'm busy. I've got other things I want to do, and I'm tired of talking about, Star Wars. And Star Trek every week. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. It's too hard. But I am very busy with the other half of the Salty Nerd world, Alex, who's not sitting there behind Matt right now.
Oh, he's actually right here.
He's right there.
I saw someone walking.
Me and him. There he is, right there. We are working very hard on the Dutch Butters gaming channel. Salty is the editor, and he's the co-host of the podcast that we put out over there. We do 3 different podcasts a week, and on everything from Arc Raiders to Helldivers to other video games that we want to talk about. And we have a good time doing it, and we're putting out a lot of content there. Podcasts. I do 4 to 5 live streams a week. Plus, we do shorts and all kinds of stuff over there. So it is. I'm going off of this channel, but I'm over there all the time. So I'm going to put the link in the chat here, and I would really appreciate it if everybody would go over there and drop me a sub. We're well on our way to 10,000 subs over there, and we want to put a mark in the gaming world over there, and that's what we're doing. And I need more time to do that. So that's why I'm letting Matt take this, and I'm bouncing out and letting Brian do his thing. And I appreciate all you guys. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of
My
fun.
life's a disaster. I'm replacing my brother with AI.
Yeah,
I've been demonetized 4 times, and I have a dying channel based on a dying franchise.
Well, I'm sorry, dude. It is what it is. But
And my main channel's doing great, so I'm not
much
sure what I'm
love,
talking
and I
about.
appreciate everybody. It's just time to do something different from you guys. That's all. So
Get it, bro.
we'll see you around. We'll see you around.
All right, and we got
It's not
Pseudo
goodbye.
Nombot,
It's see you
No.
around.
Not at all. Not at all.
Pseudo Nombot member for 28 months, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, all. Merry Christmas to you guys, and thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate everyone who gave us super chats. Bob Dorsey, thank you so much for your generosity. It's always appreciated. And just so you know, we're not going to be airing anything the rest of the year. We're taking time off to enjoy our Christmas holidays, our New Year's. But stay tuned to our channel, our community posts, our Discord. We're going to be talking about what the next steps are going to be. And chances are we will be relaunching a whole new live stream sometime in 2026, hopefully in January, but we never know. But if you guys have any suggestions or anything that you want to let us know about, feel free to hit us up in the comments or on Discord or whatever the case may be. But it's been a real pleasure entertaining you every Saturday and informing you and interacting with you. So thank you all so much for being with us on this journey. And here's to a wonderful 2026. Stay salty, my friends.
See you later.